Yeah, massive houses there.
Unbelievable.
What's
Between Park Road and Mead Hill. Gosh,
Yeah, some big houses there.
stunning houses.
Yeah.
Word, everybody. How is
You know
everyone?
what's in the Haas concert?
Wait.
You know watching Hask?
Nah, not watching Ask. I'm not paying
Right, 'cause you
18
had to pay
quid.
for it. What?
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's one thing paying to go to a concert. I'm not paying 18 quid to see someone on my phone, like singing live.
£14.50. It's a bargain. Keeps the kids quiet for 2 hours.
Yeah, but you can just set behind any YouTube video.
Exactly, you can go on any. Exactly, yeah. They prefer to watch Wheels on the
If
Bus.
tell them it's
anyway.
live, they won't know the difference.
I do.
I tried to put Shweki on yesterday for one of my kids, and he went mad with me. Wants Wheels on the Bus.
Exactly, yeah.
One Shweki.
He knows what's better.
Yeah.
You could ask Shreki to sing the Wheels on the Bus.
Yeah. Still no. No, he needs it has to be the red bus or the pink bus, whatever.
Right.
We're all here.
25 of us. Everybody else is still in Nosely Safari.
Sorting out the windmills.
Is the news far open now?
No, but that's where you would have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
What's left to go there than to watch a Haas concert on your tablet?
Yehuda, if you want, I will come and rip your wing mirrors off for you. You don't have to go to Knowsley.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, can I have a go as well?
You can do the windscreen wipers.
If it's only on condition you also tell my children that they've had a nice day. It's
Oh.
part of it.
They can all sit in the car whilst I do it. I'll even hang from them if you want. But I'm not using my teeth.
Anyone had a head to cut their hair yet?
Ben, come on, you're liking it. You're not even looking for a haircut.
No, I am.
No, you're not.
I did my kids, but I couldn't do myself.
Ben, these are good. Have you tried these ones?
Ah, I've got those.
Yeah. I think that those are the only decent ones you can get, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, you got the big one, gosh. I only got the small pack. I'll come to you for a top-up.
Got one.
Yeah, I'll have to come to you for a top-up. I only got the small pack.
Worth every penny of £6, these.
Yeah, they are. They're good.
Still need some chocolate raisins, though.
You stuff a chocolate raisin on the inside of them.
Good shout.
Word, everybody.
Moi.
Who's the Jacobson, if I'm allowed to ask? Is it new? What? Oh, yeah. Good word, everybody.
Could be Sim Jacobson.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Shai, you've been away for a couple of days. Oh, yeah, you haven't used mute. Hello?
I didn't realize yesterday was a live meeting.
Ah, fine.
What's the plan for Yom Tov now?
What was the most exciting Cholamoid outing besides the dining room, the kitchen, and the fridge?
The front garden.
Further than that,
Basic for us.
it's a quote.
I'm Saskia busy.
Thanks for lighting the mood, Yehuda.
Unfortunately,
How many Levi's have there been?
too many.
That's not a
Yeah.
number.
Today we did. I was there for 2 today. I was there for 3 yesterday. I did 2 taharas yesterday, and I did 1 tahara today. So yeah, busy.
You wear full protective gear.
Sure.
There's not a proper tower anyway, is there?
It's close enough. Depends what the situation is. Depends on the mace.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
close to this.
Yeah.
So he sent me a joke about a child before Pesach says to his mother, "Can I go to the garden?" The mother says, "No." We're now for a mood outing.
We had that.
Oh, went to the garden for a mood. Okay, tomorrow, Mr. Shem, I think there should be a shiur at what time 11ish again, because there can't be a shiur on Yom Tov. There's 2 days no shiur. The Lechut tomorrow 11 o'clock. Is that okay for most people? What's that? Yeah, I think 11 o'clock. If everybody's okay with 11 o'clock. Where's Tony? Tony's not on. Okay, if anybody's got issue with it.
Rabbi Sofa's hopefully giving a shiur 11:30 tomorrow.
How long for?
Half an hour, 45 minutes.
So can we do it after 12:15? It's 12:15. What? Or before? What's better? So let's say 12:15 then. Does that work for everybody? 12:15 or not really? Right. We'll leave it as 12:15. Yehuda, please send out a WhatsApp or a text that it's going to be 12:15.
Yeah.
Anybody, if too many people text you that it's a bad time, so then we'll reassess. Okay.
Okay.
We're doing Daf Lamed Ches, but we're starting from the bottom line of Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis. Yesterday we discussed the halachas of Shiur. The halachas of Shiur basically are that under many circumstances you're not allowed to leave a pot on an oven for Shabbos. Even though minhat Torah there's absolutely nothing wrong because you're leaving it before Shabbos to cook over Shabbos, but midrabanan they forbade it. So he asked him, Shochach kedei al gabe kiro. Person, top line of Lamed Ches and Dalef. Shochach kedei al gabe kiro bishlo, b'Shabbos mahu. Why is the person by mistake in the situation he was not allowed to left a pot to cook on the kiro on Shabbos? Ishtik v'lo malev le'midi, he did not reply. L'mocha nofak dara shlu. Amavashel b'Shabbos b'shoigeg yoichal v'mezid lo yoichal. There's a famous halacha. If a person cooks on Shabbos, if it's by mistake, you're allowed to eat it, but maybe it's not allowed to eat it. It's the first if in Shin Yud Ches, a very important halacha. If a person cooks on Shabbos or any other malacha by mistake, you're allowed to benefit. By mezid, you're not allowed to benefit. Bring machlokas, are you never allowed to benefit, or are you never allowed to benefit just at Shabbos? Nafkimina would be if a person knows, let's say, for example, there was a time where there's a factory in Eretz called Keter, they make plastic chairs, and it's owned by Yidden, and they would be open on Shabbos. And some of the poskim wanted to say that since it's b'mezid, one should not be allowed to ever use plastic chairs, because according to some poskim, b'mezid you're not allowed to. That's a big niddim. We'll come to it another time. The point is that on Shabbos, if you do it b'shoigeg, you're allowed to benefit, b'mezid not. And he finished off v'loishno, and there's no difference, meaning that even though normally there's a difference between shoigeg and mezid, regarding shehir, which is only issa d'Rabbanan, there's no difference. My v'loishno, what did he mean there's no difference between shoigeg and mezid? So what brings a machlokas? Rabbi Yosef that both times it is mutter, whether it's mezid, whether it is shoigeg, it is mutter. Why? Mavash would have covered meiser, but mezid or yoicha. Aber hide the look of the meiser, but mezid not yoicha. What is shehir? Shehir is that you put it on the oven on Friday afternoon, and instead of taking it off before Shabbos, you left it on. So that is a passive action. You didn't take it off the kiro. Shaking cooking is not a passive action. It is a direct action. It is doing something. So therefore, by mezid cooking, when you're actually doing a ma'aser of cooking, so therefore mezid on Shabbos you mustn't eat. But by mistake you're allowed to. Masha'inking shehir, where you're not doing anything, you're just leaving it on. So for that, we say that even b'mezid you're allowed to eat it. Bevashel, you're not going to make a trick. You're not going to try and cheat. B'shogeg, therefore, you can eat. You're going to eat. This is a very, very important nachem by Yitzchak. That even though regarding bishul, which is issa d'oraisa, we say that if you do it by mistake, it's okay. Only by mezid, it's no good. By shehir, which is issa d'rabanan, since people feel lighter about it, Chazal were more machmir and they forbade it. And the many Rishonim will hold that from Nachman by Yitzchak, which means a very, very interesting halacha that even though the gabe cooking on Shabbos, if you did it by mistake, the food is not forbidden. Regarding shehir on Shabbos, which is only midrabanan, if you did it by mistake, it is forbidden. What is the logic? Because by shehir, since it's only drabanan, if you allow it, when it's done by mistake, people will do it on purpose and say, I did it by mistake, because they're not so scared of Yisur D'Rabbanan. So for Chazal had to forbid it always. Mashenke by Yisur D'Oraisa or Bishul, they didn't do that. Comes out very big chiddush that we're more machmir by D'Rabbanan than D'Oraisa. Meisve. Shochach gedera gabe kiro bishlo. The Shabbos, bishlo b'Shabbos. B'shogeg yoicha beizid yoicha. Where it wasn't properly cooked. A man makes a difference between whether it was properly cooked or not. When hot water is properly cooked and it's properly hot, putting it on a higher heat, is that good for the hot water or bad for the hot water? And it's bad for the hot water, because you don't gain anything by putting it very hot. On the contrary, what's going to happen is it will all spoil away. But also, then we should stomach can prove like cabbage or punim and beans, or basa tov and mixed meat, scrambled meat. Also, when you've got a big piece of meat like a steak, if you overcook it, so it shrinks and it's no good. When you've got like mincemeat, the more you cook it, the tastier it is. And it doesn't shrink as much because it's anyway not a proper piece. And therefore it's permitted.
Minimum.
Sorry?
Sorry, it's just...
So that's something else. Okay. So therefore, we say like this. What happened was there was two stages. Originally they said that b'shogeg, if you do it by mistake, then you're allowed to eat it. But mezid, you're not allowed to. Then what happened was they saw that people were becoming lenient and saying, I did it by mistake, even when they did it on purpose. They forbade it in all cases. So this is before the exer, this is after the exer. It's always brought to kasha mezid, because before the exer, but mezid was okay. Then there should be kasha even shogeg. Why? Because they hold that b'shogeg it is okay. And according to the Gzera, it's forbidden. Kasha, it's kasha. In fact, we have a kasha with no answer. From this Brisa, it's clearly not like Rabban Rabbi Yosef. And that's why many of the Rishonim, as we said, passed back Nachem by Yitzchak, that even though they got a bishul, which is Issa D'Oraisa, there's a difference in Shogeg and Mezid, regarding Shehir, which is only also we do Rabbanon, we always forbid it. And the same halacha would apply to Chazor, meaning that if a person returns a pot to the flame by mistake on Shabbos, and we say the same thing, that it is forbidden to be benefit from it. My exer, so what was the exer? The beginning used to say like this. Similarly, those who leave it on the flame. Once there became many people left on b'mezid. When the door says we all forgot. They made a knas usan shechiach, and they said everybody's forbidden. So that was the gzeil that they forbade it even by shogeg. Says the Gemara like this: Kash damer damer kash daviyada. If you remember yesterday, we had in Daf Lamed Zayin on Modale for big machlekes of Yehuda and Omer regarding when you have two pots next to each other and a person wants to do shehir. And here we've got machlekes of Omer and Yehuda. The Gemara points out that there's a stira between Omer and Yehuda between Omer and Omer and Yehuda and Yehuda. Because the Mea Liber de Beis Hillel from yesterday says that cooked food you're not allowed to do shehir, and over here it says you're allowed to. And there, according to Rabbi Yehuda, he says that cooked food you're not allowed to do shear, and he says you're allowed to. So the Gemara says like this: that Beis Hillel forbade you to do shear lechatchila, but b'di'evet they said that if you do, it is okay. That earlier we talked about gufo ketuma, where you either moved out the ashes or you covered that, you moved out the coals or you covered the coals. So therefore we allow you by cooked food. Shaking over here, where we're talking about a case where it's not gufo ketuma, so therefore only hot water but not cooked food. Now it's very interesting. What happens if a person by mistake left it on the flame? Which is very strange because it's the exact same shaila we had at the bottom of Lamed Zayin base, and we had the machloikas, and we seem to pass, and now it's no good. And now the Gemara asks the same shaila again, which more points out that sometimes the Gemara does this kind of style. So the Gemara says like this: hot water shnishtal gabe kiva, but he never forbade it for them. Beitzim mitzumokos, overcooked eggs shnishtal gabe kiva that were left on the flame on the oven. And he forbade it. And why did he forbid it? Because they were doing shear by mistake. Is the right that shear by mistake is no good. My love is Shabbos that he forbade it for that Shabbos. Lo Shabbos habo, that he forbade it that they mustn't do it the next week. They thought shear was okay. He came along and told them that shear is forbidden, but not that he forbade it for that Shabbos, that Shabbos the food is no good. You've got no raya that shear is awesome. Of course, you're not allowed to do shear, and that's why you forbade them to do the next week. But you've got no raya that shear, the food itself, becomes awesome. Says the Bobichad, the Beitz Mitzumokos, and they knew. The fact that he told them that the eggs are no good, why is it no good? Because you're not allowed to leave it on the flame. Because the longer you cook it, the better it becomes. And therefore, we're chayshish that a person may heat up the oven to cook it better. Is a right that the longer you cook eggs, the better they become. Because if you say the eggs, the longer you cook them, the worse they become, why would it be forbidden? So the Gemara says, and once me and Rebbe invited to one place, that they became so cooked that they looked like a kind of nut. Some say it's like a whole chestnut or something like that. It became like a conkers or something. We ate a lot of them. Since he said that when he ate these extrally cooked eggs, eggs which have been cooked a very, very long time, he ate a very lot of them, is a right that eggs indeed, when they're overcooked, is very good. Okay. Says well, you're allowed to do chazor. Top of Lamed Chesed base. Afilu b'Shabbos. You're allowed to do machzirin afilu b'Shabbos. You're even allowed to do it on Shabbos. That means machzirin is the issa of chazor. You take the pot off the flame, and now you want to put it back on. Now, when a person takes a pot off the flame Friday night, obviously his intention is to do what? Is to put it back on, because he still wants to eat the next morning. But when a person takes his pot off on Shabbos morning, what is he thinking? Often he's thinking, okay, let me take it off and I'll leave it off. So you might have thought that when you take a pot off Friday night, then you're allowed to do chazor, because obviously your intention is to put it back on. But when you take a pot off on Shabbos morning, you might have thought that it's forbidden to put it back on, because then obviously your intention is just to take it off. Mashmalon is always mutter. He also held that it's mutter machzin afilu b'Shabbos. Omar Beishah pamachas in yoimdim me'elu v'abchir rabbo. We were standing in front of B'chir rabbo. Ve'elonu kumkum shel chamin. They brought us a kettle of hot water. From a lower floor to a higher floor. And we poured it into the wine. In those days, we always used to add water to the wine, either hot water or cold water. We put it back onto the oven. He never said anything. So here we see that even on Shabbos day, you can take a pot off the flame and put it back. Oh, you mentioned it. Ari, you mentioned it yesterday. The whole heta is only if you're holding on to the pot. Once you put the pot down, Also, it is also, right? That means if you take a pot off, you take the cholent pot off, everybody knows, you have to hold on to the cholent pot. You cannot leave it, put it down on the floor. And it's only mutter to put it back on if you're still holding it. He was only speaking according to his own opinion, but we don't agree. That he holds that even if you put it on the floor, it's also mutter. And it's brought down machlekes in the Shulchan Aruch. What happens if a person puts down the pot on the floor? Is he allowed to do chazorah or not? Right? Let's say somebody by mistake. I remember I was once at the Shabbos.
When we say it's only water's different.
Oh, we'll see. I'll come to it. But I just want to put it like this: that happens many times. Unfortunately, somebody's taking the chicken soup off the flame for Friday night. They think they're taking off the chicken soup, and they take it off the flame. They leave it, and then suddenly they open up the lid, and what is it? It's the cholent. And now they've got to shaila. It's not oidam biyod. It's not in their hand because they weren't intending to put it back on. Can they put it back onto the flame? So I was once with the Loza Liebman, his Avov Gate set at the Shavuot Bachas Friday night, and somebody had done it, and he said it's fine to put it back on. We'll see in a minute why he held like that. There's many. What he was doing is what's called siur for connecting a few shitters to be matter. Over here we see so far machlekes in the Gemara. One man says only if it's in your hand, and one man says even if you put it on the floor, it is okay. So it's a machlekes so far. Again, both said in the Again, another set of Amoraim arguing about this exact same case. If you put it on the floor, what's the din? Another condition. Not only it has to be in your hand, it also you have to have intention to return it. If you think that you're taking it off without intending to return it, then what's the halacha? You're not allowed to put it back on. If you put it on the floor, you need two conditions to make it mutter. One is that it's in your hand, and the second condition is that you want to put it back, because he says the lashon is when it's in your hand. It is only permitted if also you're thinking to put it back. So you need both conditions. It's also on the ground. When you've got no intention to put it back, then on the floor it's no good. If you intention to put it back, mutter. According to the second version, which is very similar to the first version, there's one difference. According to the first version, you need both conditions to put it back. One is that it should be in your hand, and that you should intend to put it back on the flame. The second version says you need either or. Either it's in your hand, or that you should put it, or that it should be, either you should have intention to put it back, or it should be in your hand. Either one works. Either it should be in your hand, or you should have intention to put it back. If you've got either, that's good enough. Now, according to which version is this going? It's obviously going according to the version that you have to, that putting it on the floor is no good. Because according to the man, putting it on the floor is okay. Then of course you don't need. In the case, we had one machlokas. If you put it on the floor, can you return it or not? Does it have to be in your hand, or can you put it on the floor? That was one machlokas. According to their opinion that if it's on the floor, it's no good. We had now a further machlokas. Do you need two conditions, i.e., you need it to be in your hand and intention to put it back? Or is it either or? Either in your hand or have intention to put it back, either one works. So the Gemara says like this. What happens if it's not in your hand, but it's not on the floor either? You hang it on a stick. What happens if you put it on the bed? It's not on the floor and it's not in your hand. If you pour it from one pot to another pot, and you want to put the second pot back on the flame, teiku. So the Gemara leaves it as a sign. So now, coming back to our shayla, a person takes off the chicken soup, thinking he's taking off the chicken soup, and by mistake he realizes, oh, it's my cholent, and now he wants to put it back on. Now, what's the din? So, got one machlokas whether if it is. If you put it on the floor, if it's no good. So according to the man, putting it on the floor is okay. This is definitely okay because it's better on the floor because you left it on the counter or the table, wherever it is. According to the man on the floor, it's no good. Then either one is enough. Either you should have intention to put it back, or holding it in your hand, or maybe you need both conditions. That itself is a machlekes. But even according to the condition that you need to have intention to put it back, over here, if you would have known it was the cholent, of course you would have put it back. Your intention was to put it back. Furthermore, you've got a shaila of a biumia. What happens if instead of putting it on the floor, you hang it on the bed on a stick? Which means that even according to the man that putting it on the floor is no good, maybe if you put it on the bed, it's okay. So of course the count is all right. So if you add up all the opinions, first of all, you've got some hold that putting it on the floor is okay. Even according to the man that putting it on the floor is no good, they hear your intention is not to take it off the flame because you want the cholent to still stay on. Plus, you haven't actually put it on the floor. When you take off your cholent, rarely do people put it on the floor. Where do they take the chickens? When they take off the pot, the wrong pot, where do they put it? They usually put it on the counter or on the table, which is not the floor, which is the same as the shaila of Abiyumia, which he says it's steiku. So you've got three different sirufim to say that it's okay. And if you look at the Mishnah Berurah writes in Reish Nun Gimel that if it's for a big hefset, a big loss, then one is allowed to put it back. And nowadays, not having cholent for Shabbos morning is certainly considered a big loss because it will destroy the Eineg Shabbos. So in a situation where a person does this, where he takes off the cholent, and he takes off his, not necessarily cholent, he thinks he's taking off his chicken, let's say, and really takes off his cholent, and suddenly realizes, hey, it's on my counter, and I didn't want to take it off, I want this for tomorrow morning, it's okay, but of course it's better not to have done it, to put it back on to the flame, as long as it's still boiling hot, and everything is properly cooked. If there's something inside the cholent which is not properly cooked, then you cannot return it. Let's say a person has added some pieces of bones or meat or just before Shabbos, and there's still raw food, there are beans. There are some beans that take a very long time to cook, then you cannot return it to the flame. The next
What's the difference between the worktop and the floor?
Oh,
Why put it on the floor make it work?
I don't know who's asking this, but
Sorry, my video's off.
it's fine. It's a very, very good question. The answer is like this. When you put something on the floor, that is a complete cut-off from cooking. It's like you're finished. You're switching off. It's like somebody taking the pot, I don't know, and take it outside or something. You're finished. You're not interested at all in cooking it anymore. Putting it on the tabletop or the counter, you're still busy with it. You're still interested in it. So therefore, it's not considered switching off completely, and therefore that is the shaila. Now, in the old days, there were three kinds of ovens. I remember the first learned Shabbos got very, very busy with it. I've got a picture over here. You can see the three kinds of ovens. I'll just show pictures after I describe it. It's not so important to see the pictures, I must admit. This is called a kiro, this is called a tano, and this is called a kupach. Kiro and kupach were the same in shape. Basically, they were rectangles where you've got a block, and the only difference between kiro and kupach is that kiro had space for two pots, it had two rings, and a kupach is a one ring. But they're both basically a square. You put the fire inside, if you can see the kupach here and the kiro there, you put the fire inside, and you put the pot on top of the ring on top. So kiro is a double ring, a kupach is a single ring. Because it's and then you've got what's called a tano. A tano is much, much hotter than a kiro or a kupach. The reason is, a tano works that it is wide at the base and narrow at the top. So all the heat concentrates and goes into the ring. And therefore it's considered a much hotter and therefore chazal or more machmir. There's a big discussion in the poskim on nowadays oven, which level do they have? We don't have a tano, kupach or kiro. And most of the poskim, all the poskim hold that our ovens nowadays are lighter or more lenient than all of them. The reason being is because in the olden days, they would put the pot on top of the fire. While nowadays, our ovens is underneath the fire or opposite the fire. You look at your normal kitchen oven, it's not that there's a flame at the bottom. These built-in ovens, or on any oven, not a gas now, to an oven. An oven, the way it works is that you have heat elements all around on top, usually on top, and then you put the food underneath. So therefore, it's even lighter than all these three. So now the Mishnah is going to differentiate between the last.
In most professional ovens nowadays, always the heat comes from the back.
Right, so it's also better. It's better than the tano, kuri, or kupach, where the heat comes from the bottom, which is more worse because the heat rises. So now the first Mishnah was talking about Kira. The Mishnah has on Tano, an oven. That is a one which, as you remember, the base is wide, the top gets narrow, which retains much, much more heat. So Shesikur Bekashu Begavavo, which we said by Kira, that's okay because since straw and stubble are not good flamed, therefore they're kuladik. This not. Lo yitain be mitoicha be ma'agabov, you're not allowed to use it even if you only heat it up with straw and stubble. Kupach Shesikur Bekashu Begavavo azeke kirayim. Then it's in between. Kupach is in between. In some level it's like Kira, in some level it's like Kupach. Kira, because of the fact that it's only got one ring, so therefore it is slightly hotter than a Kira. Kira, the heat spreads, but it's not as hot as a Tano. So Kupach is still Gashu Begavo as a Kiraim, and therefore you make it, it's okay. And therefore it's no good, and you're not allowed to put food inside it. It says more. Tanu shesikur sova bislemima toiche mamash al gabo v'gabo mamash. Avalismech shapir domi. Rav Yosef held that to put something next to an oven, that's okay. Because if you want to put something next to an oven, it says okay. I remember I was once by a big Rov's house, and he popped in to speak to me about something else. And his daughter washed her hands on a towel, and then she dropped the towel like a bit on the radiator and a bit on the floor. A lot of people do it. It was in the kitchen area. So there was a big oven, like a big radiator. So she hung it like part of the towel instead of having put it on the towel hook. She hung it on the radiator, and it was Shabbos. And he said, "Oy, you're going to be able to Issa Bishul." And his mamish held strongly of it. It might sound like a chum, but it's not such a big chum if you think about it, because the towel often gets quite wet when a lot of people dry their hands on it. It's got liquid, and you're putting it next to a source of heat, because at the end of the day, the radiator does in the winter get very, very hot. And you're doing bishul on the water in the thing.
Does the Isha bishul apply even if you're not going to use the water for anything?
Yes, that's a very important point. Even if you're not intending to heat it for anything. This Yom Tov, so they asked me to shine like this, that they had a very, very hot pot, and they don't have a Pesach Tikaturin. So they wanted to put the hot pot down on a very thin plastic. And as they put it down, what happened to the plastic? It heated up and melted. And I wonder if that was Issa Bishul. That is indeed an Issa Bishul, because Issa Bishul doesn't just apply to food, it applies to all materials. If you heat up metal until it melts, it's also Issa, so it's no good. You can't put down a very hot pot onto a plastic. Okay. It's like an oven boss. Okay, kira shoy. But if it would be like a kira, it would be okay. If it's on top of my name, and the kira can go for is it permitted by kira? It's also as well. And he must be talking about putting next to it. That once it's like an oven, you're not allowed to put next to it. You're not allowed to put next to a kupach, even food, even next to it, if it's not on top of it. Again, so therefore, how are you ketanu daf gav go for kotzma gav of osa? We're saying like this, that a kupach which you heat up with wood is so hot that it has the halachas of a tanu, which is go for cotton, which is that it's forbidden. That means like this. We said in the very first Mishnah in our pair that if you heat up a kiyur with kash and gabor, which is straw and stubble, if you do, then it's mutter. If it's with wood, then the din is only if you do go for cotton. That's only if you sweep it out or you cover it with ashes. Now we're saying that a tannel, which is much, much hotter, and a kupach, if you use wood, then even after you do go for cotton, it is still also. Why is it still also? Because it is, the heat retains, and that's the Chiddush of our Mishnah. Not in the case where you put it next to it. In the case where you put it next to it, it is mutter. When is it also? Is when you put it on. You're not allowed to put next to it. of course not allowed to put on top. Of course not allowed to put it inside. Now, of course, you're not allowed to do it if you use gefes and eitzim. Gefes, we said, is what's left over from sesame after you squeeze out the oil. You're allowed to put next to it. You're not allowed to even put next to it. So therefore, the halacha is like a buyer that you're not allowed to put next to a heat source of tanu and kupach a food which will get hot. And the Rishonim Mashmos is that even if you will not become Yad Seledesput, Mash'en came by Kiro, it is mutter. Which means that nowadays, as we said, our ovens are not going to the tanu kupach, you're allowed to. Which means that if, let's say, for example, you've got baby food and it's very chilly and you want to give it to your baby, you want to take away part of the heat, then you're allowed to put it next to your gas as long as it will not get cooked. That means all you want to do is take away the chill. It is permitted to do that, right? Let's say you've got your gas, you've got your hot plate, and you've got your baby food, and you wanted to take away the chill, so you can put the food next to the hot plate, let's say 2 centimeters away, if you know that it won't get cooked, as long just to take away the chill.
What's Yad Soledespor?
What degrees is it?
Yad Soledespor.
That is a heat that hand gets hot and burnt from it. That's anywhere between the degrees of 38 and 45. It's interesting that I used to learn by Yosef Vina, I mentioned him yesterday, who told me that Shem Zaman Obach said to him like this. He said he heard it from Shem Zaman himself, that the Chazal tell us that within kosher animals, you will never get to Yad Seled Despoy. Nothing within a kosher animal is Yad Seled Despoy. And he said that he found out, I can't remember if it was a turkey or a goose, which are both kosher or something, not sure, kind of chicken, kind of bird, that the neck area straight after shechita is particularly hot. So Shem Zaman said he went to a shechita house, had it shechted, to put a thermometer straight away there, and it came to about 43 or 44 degrees, which was, Shem Zaman said, is a raya that Yad Seledis, but it has to be more than that. That was, he was testing. It's interesting how Chazal said something and he went to try it out in the field to work out what's the halacha. But there's big machlokes in the poskim, what exactly is Yad Seledis. We'll come to it another time. Says the Gemara.
With this, you mentioned the towel before.
Yeah.
You could put the towel on your oven door.
Oh,
So it's next to the oven.
Probably, I doubt nowadays that they would let an oven door get so hot because they have safety features. But if
it gets warm enough that you could dry a towel.
What?
It just gets warm enough that maybe you could dry the towel.
Yeah, but does it get Yad Seledis boy? Doubt it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so. No.
Yeah, no. I would say that's okay. Yeah, that's probably okay. Yes. What's the kupach look like? If it looks like a it should be forbidden. It is hotter than a kira, but it's cooler than a tanu. Kira, you have two, and a kupach has one. And the Gemara explains. An oven, once it's broken and cannot be used as a keli, then the halacha is that it is toy, meaning it's not mekabel tumam because it's not a keli anymore. So now a kira, we said, is enough to put on 2 pots. A kupach, we said, is only enough to put on 1 pot. And it says like this, that the Mishnah says a kira which is cut lengthways, it is toy, but widthways, it is tomei. And the kupach, either way, it is toy. What's the logic? So the Art School and others have shown pictures. If you can look, it's worthwhile to see the picture, but can you see it? Please tell me if you can't. It's not so clear. Can you see? When you've got a kiro, I can't see. Can anybody see it from the thing or is the light bad? You can't see it. Oh, now can you see it? Now you should be able to see it. Can you see it? Anybody tell me if they can see it? 16.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you cut it width this way, you still have two oven places. If you cut it that way, then you won't have anything left. You can't use it as an oven at all. Now, if you look at a kupach, which is only space to put one, over here. Sorry, where is it? Where's the picture? Oh. Can you see the picture? Anybody see it? Shai, can you see the picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
A kupach is only got one ring. So whichever way you cut it, lengthway or widthways, it's going to be broken. So basically, it's very easy if you imagine it in your mind. A key is like a double ring. If you break a double ring down the middle, you could still have two rings. It's marvelous. You have two rings. It's even better. But if you cut it lengthways, you'll end up with two half rings on one side, two half rings on the other side. You can't use it at all. But the kupach is only one ring. So now we're not talking about the electric rings where if you cut it whichever way it's completely broken. I'm talking about now an earthenware ring. So if you've got one earthenware ring, whichever way you cut it, it's going to be broken. And therefore, that's what the Gemara says. A kupach is one ring, a kira is two rings, a tano is one ring where the base is very wide and the top is very narrow. Okay. Now we're moving on to more halachas of cooking. You're not allowed to put an egg next to a kettle or a pot in order that it should get cooked, lightly cooked. I once mentioned this before from the Marashah, a nice Marashah. Why does shetisgalgal mean cooking? Because there's a difference between a raw egg and a cooked egg. A raw egg doesn't spin around very well. A cooked egg spins around very well. So tisgalgal means to roll round. So here, you want to see eggs, it seems, are very easy to cook. They're one of the easiest things to cook. So even I know how to cook an egg. So you look over here, can you see he's got an egg, he's got a kettle, he's putting the egg next to the kettle to cook it. That is also to do so. Can you see it? If anybody can't see it, just tell me. Right, and the Mishnah carries on. If you've got, let's say, a towel or cloth, which you put it down on the beach or the floor, and it gets boiling hot, you're not allowed to cook an egg on top of the towel. I remember going to Etzol, my nicest memories is walking at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning towards the beach in Etzol, and the sand would be so hot, your feet would literally cook. So if you were to put
stones on the beach are even hotter.
Yes, the sands are even hotter, yes. So what happens is you put you put an egg on a towel, then it's forbidden. Rabbi Yossi permits it. We'll discuss this later. Again, a picture. You're not allowed to put the egg inside the sand. Here. Can't put inside sand. On the dust, in order to roast it. Also anshe teveria. Anshe teveria. What's teveria famous for? It's hot springs. What they did is bring machlekes to show them exactly what they did. We're going now b'shtas tes. It's not Rashi. Rashi says, I'll tell you Rashi outside, but I'm not going to quote Rashi again. I'm not going to go with Rashi. Right? Basically, there was hot water springs and cold water springs. Rashi says everybody wants hot water, right? People don't like cold water. You want to have a bath. You want to have a hot tea. You want hot water, not cold water. So Rashi says that Anshe Teveria would make the cold stream flow through the hot stream, and then they would have lots of hot water. The problem, technically, is that the hot stream was always very dirty water, and it's not mamish. More later we'll discuss hatmona and things like that, which is not mamish the same. It's not really hatmona. So we'll stick with Tosfos, which Tosfos says like this, that what they did was, they had a water, just like Rashi, but slightly different. Not that the water went through the hot water. Rather, they had a cold water pipe, and they made the cold water pipe go through the hot water. I mean, instead of Rashi saying that the cold water flowed through the hot water and made one big mixture, according to Tosfos, it was they got the cold water to go into a stream, and they made the big pipe. So it made it go into a pipe, and they made the pipe go through hot water. I was once saying from his house where the plumbers had done a big mistake that made the cold water pipes go through very, very near where the boilers. And if you wanted a cold drink in the morning, you had to let the cold water flow for a very long time, because what happened is all the cold water in the pipes would be hot because they were so near the hot water pipe. It's not so pleasant if you want to have a cold drink in the morning. It's not a big thing, but so in ancient Tevei wanted hot water, so they made the cold water pipes, not streams, pipes, go through the hot water. So Ma'aseh Sh'osa ancient Tevei review silon shel tzeinon etich amo shel chamin. Omul lem chachamim in b'Shabbos, the water that flows through Shabbos, it's like hot water cooked on Shabbos. Not allowed to wash yourself and not allowed to drink it. You're not allowed to cook water on Yom Tov to have a bath, but you're allowed to cook water on Yom Tov to have a hot drink. So the water that flows through this pipe on Yom Tov is forbidden to drink, but it's forbidden to wash, but permitted to drink. The more discussed it all again. What happens if somebody puts an egg on next to a kettle and then that way he gets his egg cooked? Alternatively, he puts his egg next to a towel on the beach and gets cooked. The chiddush is that even though you may say, wait a second, what did I do over here? It's a light cooking. All I did was a very light cooking. Nevertheless, you have chatos. Omar ma brida vinafan onamitanina top of Lametes Amud Aleph. Kol shebo bechamin melifnei Shabbos. Anything that got cooked before Shabbos, shon usu bechamin Shabbos, you're allowed to cook it on Shabbos. Because Pashtus Rashi understands, ein bishul achad bishul. Once it's been cooked, it's already been cooked. B'chol shelo bo bechamin melifnei Shabbos. If it didn't get cooked before Shabbos, but dichin usu bechamin Shabbos, you're allowed to pour hot water over it. Why? Because pouring hot water over something doesn't cook it. So let's say you've got a raw potato and you pour hot water over it, it's not going to cook it. So therefore, there's no problem. Chut, be not allowed to soak it in hot water because that might cook it. Chut min ha'meliach yoshin, something which is salted, old salted things. V'kulis or a spinus, a spinning. It's a kind of fish. Shadachos zugma malachton. That rinsing it with hot water makes it Gemar Malacha Shema Mino. That means the Gemara has been medayek the words Gemar Malachton. Gemar Malachton means it finishes the job, meaning that it completes it, and therefore it's an Issa D'Oraisa. That means sometimes you can do a Bishul D'Oraisa without even putting on a flame. All you did is pour hot water over this kind of fish, which gets easily cooked, and therefore it's also to Min HaTorah, a person does it would be Chayav Chatas. This is one of the mekoros of something which is called kalei habishul, meaning that even though normally for something to get cooked requires either keli rishon or something like that, there are certain things which are considered kalei habishul, which aren't so far in this Gemara. We've only had two examples, something which has been very, very salted, or this kind of fish. Rashi seems to say, if you look in Rashi says dag shekern to nina, which is tuna fish, which is also interesting. Rashi uses a similar word. But okay, that means it's something which gets cooked easily. So we see over here eggs which get cooked easily, and this kind of fish, just rinsing it with hot water, makes it mavushal, and if a person does it chas shom on Shabbos, it's chayav chatas. Says the Gemara, v'le'afkinu b'sutin. We learned in the Mishnah, now what happens is, sometimes a person wants to put food to be protected, so he puts it into a pit. Let's say you've got a bottle of wine and it's best served chilled, right? So what do? You put it in a cold, dirty well. You're allowed to do that. But it's at you're allowed to put cold water in the sun in order they should get hot. Let's say it's Rabbi Yossi, not the Chachamim. Because we see over here that you're allowed to put something in the sun, and the Rabbi Yossi and the Chachamim say you're not allowed to. But in the sun, cooking in the sun is mutter. But in the fire is definitely awesome, and something that comes from fire is definitely awesome. It's a very, very interesting Gemara. If you were to cook something in the sun, it is mutter. Can you imagine? If you were to hold an egg on your palm of your hand and put it in the sun, you'd be allowed to. Why? Because the Torah says you're not allowed to cook with fire. This is not fire, it's the sun. Something that is the fire is awesome in our Torah. Todas achamo. But todas eish, what's todas eish? Let's say you take a pot, put it on the fire, and then you take it off the fire, and then you put something inside it. That's called Turdus Eish, and that comes from a fire. Everybody agrees it's awesome. The question is Turdus Cham. That means the sand on the beach, it's hot. Why is the sand on the beach hot? Because of the sun. So if I put a scrambled egg onto the sand, according to Rabbi Yossi, it's mutter. Why? Because Rabbi Yossi will say to you that just like I'm allowed to cook something in the sun, I'm allowed to cook something on the sand, I got heated from the sun. Chacham is saying, no, why not? Because if somebody sees you cooking on the sand, which was heated from the sun, they'll say, if that's permitted, so too am I allowed to cook with something that got heated from a fire, because it gets easily mixed up. That means when you cook,
But they hold so as well by the sun,
No.
the plain sun.
that's what I was just trying to say. Very good. The sun itself is easily distinguishable from a fire. Something which is turdus acham, something which is indirect from the sun, that is more mixed up with something which is turdus or eish, and therefore it's awesome. So I remember, like, there's many tshuvas, but in Eretz Yisrael it's very, very common. It's called a dud shemesh. A dud shemesh is a very interesting mechanism. It saves a tremendous amount of money on heating and boiling. What it is it's metal reflectors which you put on the roof, and they heat up the water. You get mamish boiling hot water directly from the sun. What's that? Mutter asa on Shabbos.
You're not doing anything.
Yeah, but let's say you tend hot.
Also, told
Wait
us.
a second. Let's
It's
say
told
you
of the sun.
it's told of the sun.
According to Rabbi Yossi, mutter, according to Chachamim also.
Very good, very, very good. But now, why somebody said to me that you're not doing anything. Why not? So the answer is, when you turn the hot water tap on, you're causing fresh cold water to go under the kultim, it's called, under the catches of the sun. So according to Rabbi Yossi, you wouldn't be allowed to do it on Shabbos, because what happens is that fresh hot water comes in. So that is the halacha. In the sun, it's okay. Turdus ha'esh, according to everybody's also. Turdus ha'chamo, it's a gzeira to turdus ha'esh, it's a gzeira to turdus ha'chamo. Let's just do a bit more. You're not allowed to put it in the hot sand. Why does Rabbi not say that's mutter? If you put it in hot sand, you might put it in hot ashes, which is also because of atmona. Because you might move sand, and you're not allowed to move sand on Shabbos because gumma, which is chovesh. If you've got loose sand, if it's the whole then it's still awesome. If it's because you might come to dig, it is forbidden. So it says, you're allowed to make an egg on a hot rooftop. Why? Because that is why you're allowed to do it on the. Let's say you've got a roof. Why are you allowed to scramble an egg on your roof?
Heated from the sun.
Heated from the sun. Sorry.
Why is it heated from the sun? Why is the sun not heating the roof tiles to cook the egg?
Because it is not like a heating element which gets hot from the sun. We're not discussing like reflectors which are catching rays from the sun, and then afterwards, it's a good point. It's a very good point. I should have said this straight away. I've lost you now. You've moved off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why is it no different?
Just keep moving around. When you've got, let's say, sand, the sand gets heated by the sun, and then you're heating something from the sun. It's called indirect. If you let's say, put it on your hand also gets hot from the sun. The answer is that when somebody's looking at it, it's like a rooftop. Nobody sees the rooftop as a cooking utensil which got heated from the sun, and now you're cooking the egg. Rather, they see it as directly coming from the sun onto the rooftop. So therefore, you're not cooking. You don't see it as the rooftop becomes a cooking element heated by the sun. You see it as directly from the sun. When you've got something which is getting heated up, then that thing gets heated up, and then afterwards it directly transfers the heat.
So how's the sun different?
Sand, what happens is the sand, if somebody would say to you, let's say you'd see somebody scrambling an egg on sand. What would you say is cooking it? With the sand or the sun? You would say that the sand got very, very hot, and now you're cooking it with the sand. because you see it. It's like, for example, let's say you've got a fire, and then you put a grate on top of the fire, and you put food on top of the grate. So what happens is the grate absorbs heat, and now somebody say, I'm cooking it on the grate. I'm frying an egg. Many people say to you, I'm frying the egg in the pan. You're not really. You'll find the egg because of the fire underneath the pan, but the pan absorbs the heat from the fire, and now you're cooking with that pan. When you've got
the roof should be the same. The roof should absorb the heat from the sun and cook the egg.
It's to do with exera. What does it look like? How does it seem to a person who's cooking it? That means when a person looks at it, how does he see it? Does he see it as he's heating it from the sun, or does he see it as he's heating it from an element that got heated by the sun? That's just how we look at it. By sand, we see it as if it's getting heated by an element from the sun. By Sheinkein, by sand, it's considered as if the sand becomes hot, and now it's a new heat, and you're heating it. For example, I'll tell you the way you would do it. If a person wanted to save on cooking purposes, what he might do is he might take the sand off the beach and move it into his house, and then use it to cook his meal. Because he sees the sand as now a new heat source, which is now, obviously you're right, the heat came from the sun. But now the sand itself has become a source of heat, which now he can use to warm himself up. If a person's cold, he might bring some sun inside, some sand inside to heat himself up. By shanking the rooftop, a person doesn't see it like that. A person who puts it on the rooftop, what's he looking at? He sees the rooftop as just being that we're putting an egg there. He's expecting the sun to heat it up. He's not looking at the rooftop and saying to himself, wow, I've now got a source of heat which if I need to cook. Okay, that is...
Sorry, 1 second. If you're holding a frying pan, then can you cook your egg in the sun? Because you're saying the frying pan isn't a heating element.
I would
it's
an interesting shaila. I think it would be okay. I think putting a frying pan... I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
It would be the same as putting it in your hand.
Yeah, it would be the same. I don't know if people look at the... I'm not sure. Okay. So Gemara says like this. There's no chashash because Siddur Sach is completely different. Because in the rooftop, because you can't do atzmona. Because if you go do it in the rooftop, you might end up moving sand around. And what says stam gag? Let's be offer. Normal rooftop has no offer, so for not chayshish that you'll come to do atzmona there. Let's just finish off. Toshma ma'aser shosa shetvei bevisin shetzilin tich amos shalchan nechulu. Nishmad magzer shemiyat v'emetzanu dudam yilatzmona. El madam apnei is offer from koimo. You go to move offer. Michael and Meima, what's the problem of here? There's no offer by when they did atzmona of the water into the cold water, hot water. Was at least on the ma'aser tvei asifik koi is referring to the last case. Avesha koi lo yafkin the besudin the basi mati. The Chachamim showed that they said to Anshe Tvei, what you're doing is wrong. And he said, right, that Todas Chacham was also. That means Rabbi Yossi held the reason why the springs in Tveria get hot is not from the sun, they get hot from fire. Because how does Chami Tveria get hot? From Gehenna, which is a proper fire. So therefore, they said that it's not Todas Achama, but rather it's Todas Ha'oil. Okay. It is a tricky point. Who was that, Andrew? That is this point. When is it considered Todas Chama, and when is it called directly Chama? One of you asked, you asked the question, Ben, what about a frying pan in the sun? I'll have to check it up. Let me bring it if I remember, I'll check it up for tomorrow. In Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow there'll be a shiur from the bottom of Lamantes Amud Aleph at 12:15. Then there'll be no shiurim on Wednesday, Thursday, and on Friday. How does everybody feel about 12:15 on Friday, or is it too busy? Because it's
That should be okay.
Yehuda, can you send out a WhatsApp or text asking if everybody's okay at 12:15 on Friday as well? And if a lot of people, if a few people are okay with it, if there's a number of people okay with it, we'll do it, and then we'll just put it on YouTube. If not, if the majority feel that it's too difficult, because it's then we'll leave it. I just want to say one very, very short word. This is nice veto, is that the Rosha, we blunt his teeth. Why his teeth? As one halach is that the Rosha's mistake is he has given up on himself. He said, Ma'avad is lochem for you. He says, I'm a Rosha, since I'm a Rosha, so therefore, there's no point, don't rely on me, that I can't be in charge. And we say to him, you're making a very, very big mistake. Shvocha created most limbs, once they're gone, they're gone. But teeth, Hashem always made a second set of teeth. So we say, and that's why it's called shinaim. Shinaim comes from the word sheni, because there's always a second set, shinaim, a second chance. So we say to him, just like Chas V'Shalom, if a person has a tooth knocked out, there's an opportunity for another tooth to grow. So too, even if you believe that you've been knocked out of Klal Yisrael, you're completely wrong. That in fact, you've always got a second chance. And that, Tzaddik Cohen says in this point, that sometimes a person's lack of emunah is not a lack of emunah in Hashem, it's a lack of emunah in himself. A person must never say, wow, for you, because I don't have. It's not true. A person always has an ability to be part of Klal Yisrael. I shouldn't say that avodah is for you. A person has to realize you mustn't give up on yourself. And that's one of the messages of the teeth, that there's always a second chance. Okay. Yehuda, will you let me know?
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah. No problem.
Right. Okay, so tomorrow it's reported about Shiur. Harvey, I see you sent me a text, but I can't read it all because it's gone off the screen. Okay, we'll be in touch afterwards. Okay. So they have a very, very good mood atzlacha with everything, and a good yontif to do so and speak to tomorrow. So,
thank you.
I'll check up now about this.
Steinberg?
Yeah. Oh.
I was just saying in my message, perhaps a possible difference is what happens when the sun goes behind the clouds. Maybe the sand is still very hot, and perhaps these other things are no longer hot enough.
A rooftop would get cold. That's a good point. That's a good point. I just see that on the test. Here. Let's see. You know what the problem is? We paskin that Todas Chama is also not like a Byosi. And this Gemara is going Kudzman Doma that it's mutter. The whole din of the rooftop is mutter. I don't know. Okay. I hear you. The rooftop would cool down once the sun goes back. The sand stays hot for many hours afterwards, even late at night. It's a good point. Okay. Shkoch.
Okay.
And a good way, good atzlach with everything. Okay, in touch. Okay, Kolto. So you it's right.